Hey guys, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, and I'm doing another one of these. This time we're on the Thousand Suns. Now, the Thousand Suns, like many of the Chaos Legions, had a range refresh relatively recently, and they were also the first Legion to get a plastic Primarch, which was really quite cool. So I'm going to start with what I like from this range, and then we'll go on to what I don't like. So starting off, I quite like Magnus the Red. I think he's a cool model, I think he's interesting. Yeah, he might be a little bit dated nowadays with some of the sculpting techniques, and like his face is a bit funky. But, end of the day, still a pretty cool model. Nice centerpiece for your army. The rubrics. I quite like the rubrics. I think they look okay. Not so much a fan of like the ornate flamers, really. And some of the bolters are a bit over the top for my liking. But as a modernisation of the old metal upgrades that we had around 3rd and 4th edition, they're a pretty solid kit. The fact that they come with bolters, they come with the flamers as well. You also get all of the upgrade parts to make a sorcerer in there. I like it, you know, you get the assault cannon, it's all pretty good. So it's a nice solid kit in my opinion. Completely disregarding just how awful they are to paint the trim on. So pretty solid. Don't have a combat patrol I can talk about, unfortunately, because there isn't one on the entire page, so it looks like it's been retired to be replaced. The Exalted Sorcerers, another really good kit. 3 characters, loads of parts, all compatible with the existing rubric, so you can really make a nice unique sorcerer. Yeah, I don't mind this set at all. I've used this entire kit effectively. I mean, I've avoided using some of the seriously mutated parts, but backpacks, you know, arms, legs, you know, all the bodies, all of that I've used to make 30k Thousand Suns. So I like all this. This is a good kit. The Lord of Change, and by extension Chaos Fate Weaver, lovely model, really nice model, really impressive. One of those big models that's a good centerpiece for your army. Really lets you flex your painting sort of muscles as well. And again, a really good upgrade to, or update to the old metal and Forge World Lord of Change. So that's a solid model. The Infernal Master, another solid update. Bit more modern than the rest of them. Bit chunkier in the old Mark IV department, but still pretty good. And definitely works for 30k as well. Really like him. Little cute tiny goobers. Normally we hate a goober, but these are actually pretty cool because they're kind of like growing out of nothing. Really cool backpack and a nice swooping kung fu action pose. And he's got a tactical rock, which I always like. That's about it. You know, the Scarab Occult Terminators is the last entry. A solid. Now I like these for 2 reasons. One, it's cool to see Chaos Terminators. You get the parts to make a Sorcerer Terminator, which is cool. But most importantly, they're fully compatible with the existing Tartarus set for 30k. So what did I do? I bought one of these, I bought one Tartarus set, and I combined them to make my Thousand Suns Heresy Tartarus. I really like these guys, even for the Heresy, if not for the Heresy, for 40k, this is a solid kit as well. Like I said, that's kind of where things stop. Ahriman, not too bad. Some people don't like the chest decorations. I've never particularly liked Ahriman as a character in 40k. I don't like his design. The big collar, the sort of the mask. I know some people do. It's just a personal preference. I'm sure if I got my hands on him and I got to paint him at some point, that would probably change. But I've just never liked him since he was in metal either. But that's not to say he's not a bad model. Now, the issues I have with this entire range are basically these guys. Tzaangors. I can't stand Tzaangors. If I'm collecting a Chaos Space Marine faction, I want the majority of my army to be Chaos Space Marines. And every single box set these guys have is padded out with just hundreds of Tzaangors. You got Tzaangors on discs, you've got Tzaangors on more discs, you've got, you know, they're just everywhere. I don't mind things like the Flamers of Zinch and the Horrors, that's fine. You know, they're okay, you know. But Tzaangors, I just cannot stand them. So, and the Mutilith Vortex Beast, I think, is just a busy model. Like, I think that just, yeah, it needs changing. So, things that I would update this, if I was doing this faction, I want to update them, and I want to do a nice big range refresh. What am I going to add in? Well, for a start, I'm going to be giving them another unit of Terminators. I'm going to give them some Cataphractii Terminators. But probably gear these ones more either towards, you know, just close combat or just heavy weapons. But make them slower, tougher. Just really, really kind of big Cataphractii Terminators. They had a lot of Cataphractii Terminators in the Heresy. I just think it would work to have them in 40k. Death Guard have already set the precedent. They already have two types of Terminators there. They have Cataphractii and Indomitus Terminators, so there's no reason not to have them here. Next, I would create either an upgrade set or a whole new set for the Rubric Marines, and that is Rubric with close combat weapons. A pair of power blades like the Kenetai Blade Occult. I think that would fit. You know, it was a big part of the Legion were these close combat Marines who were there designed to guard the chapter's secrets and their gene seed vaults. Also looking after things like the Dreadnoughts. So it's a nice cheap upgrade. It would be like one sprue of a set of arms and possibly maybe a new head or something for the champion. But pair of like power Kopeshes I think would work really, really nicely as an expansion to the rubrics. Now I could say Rubric Assault Marines and Rubric Bikers and Rubric Havocs as well. I think that all of those would thematically fit. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't exist. Just because they're robotic automatons controlled by a sorcerer doesn't really mean they shouldn't have the ability to field bikes, heavy weapons. I think heavy weapons is the simplest. You know, the Thousand Sons had a lot of heavy weapons. They had their own specialised plasma cannons. I think a heavy weapons unit fits the theme of slow and ponderous, you know, marching towards the enemy without any personality, just keep moving and shooting. I like it. I think it would work. The Assault Marines, maybe not so much. Maybe that is more the realm of demons for this army. But they had them. It could work. What else? I actually think maybe another character. I think we need like Ahriman's foil. We need someone who is like Ahriman but is more in line with Magnus. You know, he's maybe a minor sorcerer, so he survived the rubric. But he's more combat focused, could be fun. Someone that buffs rubrics through their like bolt of fire, that sort of thing. And lastly, I think one of the more important things is one of the Asarian dreadnoughts or Osiris dreadnoughts. A psychic dreadnought would fit this army very well, and I think that, you know, it would fit thematically. It ties a link back to the Heresy, and I think it would be a really interesting kit to make. Would be maybe a Castaferum dreadnought, but even like a Contemptor styled, or even a whole new chassis styled dreadnought with a sorcerer in it. You could just make it you could do a dual kit, so it's a named character and also just a psychic dreadnought. The what are they called? The upcoming automatons, I'm not a big fan of. I think they should have gone more towards the Castellax stylings of the Heresy option. But I'm okay with them adding them in. I just wish they were slightly bigger. They look really small. And yeah, other than that, I think an upgrade set for vehicles would be important. Something that would let you tie thematically the existing vehicle range into the Rubric range, you know, with icons, trim, that sort of thing, extra armour, stuff to make them look more Thousand Suns-ish without just slap of paint. I do not like the Hellbrute. I think the Hellbrute is a terrible miniature in my opinion, and I don't think it fits with the Thousand Suns aesthetic at all. You know, you can paint it blue as much as you want. I think this looks wrong. I think an actual, like, proper dreadnought would fit the aesthetic of the Legion better, personally. Personally, I actually think the Hellbrute should be its own unit. It's a possessed dreadnought, and then they should have a dreadnought, and that's for all Chaos factions. Because I think that, you know, it would look better, you know, especially when they tell us that for the Legionaries, the Long War has only been going on for a couple of 100 years because of warp chicanery. They shouldn't be this mutated this quickly. So yes, that's what I would change personally for the Thousand Suns. Nothing really to talk about in there. So yeah, Thousand Suns, another Terminator unit, bite, heavy weapons, a update for the Rubric Marines to give them close combat weapons, and then more dreadnoughts, more tank upgrades, that sort of thing. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm just chatting complete shit? I mean, I am. Are you a Thousand Suns player? What would you like to see? Because, you know, you guys playing 40k Thousand Suns will know the missing parts of your army. I'm just talking sort of thematically for what I'd like to build and paint. Yeah, I would like to see it. I'd like to see the Thousand Suns get as much limelight in the fluff as, like, the Death Guard have. The Death Guard, I think, have been done really, really well. They've had a lot of time in the limelight. A lot of books have been written about them, and I think Thousand Suns should get a lot of that too. And for that, you need characters who you can empathise with, you can connect to, you can understand. Just being a bleep bloop sand robot isn't going to help for most people. Yeah, so let me know down in the comments, guys. Always happy to hear from you. And my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando. Let's have a conversation. Bye bye.